But wanted to ask you about creator mode, Mark. What exposure have you had to creator mode so far, and are you recommending to people that they turn it on? And indeed, for those who aren't familiar with it, can you just give us a quick rundown on it as well?
Yeah, sure. Okay, the rundown first. We have a different, I mean, they've called it creator mode. Unsurprisingly, it is trying to help and push forward content in particular from people who are providing lots of content. Am I a fan? No, I'm going to be honest, I'm not really, or at least not for lots of people. What it does, 2 or 3 different things. Firstly, it rearranges a little bit on the profile. I've had some people say that you can just alter that. I personally haven't had that facility available. So it sort of shifts the about section down and moves the featured area, which I like a lot, up. And it also adds and pushes up the activity area and adds another couple of sort of bits of your activity in there. This is great for people who are very active and also ones who are publishing a lot. And I think that's ultimately who it's aimed at. For most people, however, I think the about section is a really powerful one. And actually the featured area I think is also a really powerful area. Now for me, having both of those nearer to the top of the profile in a lot of cases is going to be beneficial. So my own perspective, if I'm perfectly honest, is that if you are a big sort of the publisher, you're pushing out lots of content, and in particular if you're trying to build up, I'm going to say an audience rather than a tribe, if I can put it in those terms. In other words, if you are looking for being able to spread your wisdom to a large set of people, then creator mode has some advantages because it highlights it a little bit more, it shows followers as well as connections, it changes your connect button, as we know, to a follow button, and so that's all good because it builds up that mass audience that we're looking for. For the rest of us, I quite like connecting with people because I quite like talking to them. And so for me, and I have changed mine to creator mode for the last sort of 3 weeks now, and I'm getting many fewer connections but many more followers. And actually what I have to do in this instance therefore is keep a close eye on who's following me and make sure that I then ask them to connect, because otherwise I'm just sort of broadcasting and I'm not engaging. And I still think engaging is the better way to go. So for me, there's a lot of downsides. There are some upsides, and LinkedIn, let's face it, is I don't know, I'm going to say dragging us kicking and screaming just a little bit. For those who are in fact providing lots of content, they are bribing us a little, because if we want to have the newsletter feature, so this idea of the articles but in a newsletter type format, and if we want to use LinkedIn Live, we have to go to creator mode. And so I think that's a bit of a bribe, and I'm not sure that's the best way to go. So Tony, short answer, I'm not a great fan except for those who are trying to build up a mass audience. I also have found, I have to say, the interaction's gone down a little, but to be honest, my interaction isn't massive in the first place, so that's a little bit sort of personal feeling rather than statistically based. But for those who do have it or wish some of those key features, newsletter, LinkedIn Live, I've got no doubt they'll add some more in, then yeah, perhaps that is going to be the way to go. Most audience, probably not.
Yeah, and I feel very much the same. You know, if I could have 10 connections of my ideal clients versus 100 followers of my ideal clients, I'd much rather have 10 connections because then the ability to have that two-way private communication, you know, is just opened up, and you're going to be able to make so much more happen than waiting for people who are following you to perhaps initiate a conversation. So I think I'm in a similar camp to you there, Mark. And
yeah, and the issue for me is that people don't actually know that the follow's there. Sorry, the connect button is there. You know, and that for me is a biggie. I was with a client with a team there, and 2 of them had switched it to creator mode, and I asked them why, and they said, I didn't know I had, which is always, I don't quite know how that happened. but but you realize they're now got to follow. People are being sort of encouraged to follow rather than to engage. And of
Yeah.
course, they can't see that because that's not the button they see. So again, there is a little bit of sort of, no, it's not jiggery pokery, but LinkedIn isn't being quite so open. So yeah, I'm with you on that.